hold on to your fucking butts, because we knew this was coming. Or did we? Cue the intro. Alright, so let me get this shit off. You can probably tell by judging from this title, HK is in some shit. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, I'm not an expert. I'm pretty much just a fanboy that is on suicide watch. But here are my thoughts, yeah. So, the saga begins with a very spicy Instagram post. This is the first time in a long time that HK actually got some marketing or publicity, as you will. Anyways, the original article here shows that Heckler and Koch is facing bankruptcy. Bankruptcy. That's not good for our premier manufacturer of firearms. So, there are a lot of parts to this problem. It's not just one thing. It's not just HK hates you, as these artards on Facebook and such would like you to believe. But it does seem like a lot of times HK does fuck with themselves, and
what the hell are you doing?
we'll kind of go into depth with that. So, as many of you know, there are a bunch of restrictions on German exportation laws for small arms, such as what HK deals with. The German government is pretty shitty if you haven't noticed already, and it really does make it difficult for a lot of these companies to export their arms straight from Germany. So the guns need to have a sporting purpose, hence why the SP5K has had to go through numerous modifications to make it a quote-unquote sporting pistol. But besides that, there are ways around this, as we've seen by SIG. They have a lot of factories in the US, and they make guns locally, so the laws don't really apply to them. That's pretty cool stuff. HK does have factories in the US, primarily the one that's manufacturing things is in Georgia. They make the 416s or whatever, but HK's main factory is in Oberndorf.
Oberndorf am Neckar.
And that's where most of their arms are produced, right in-house there. And it's not looking so good for a lot of these people, because it's losing a lot of money, and the worrisome part is a lot of people are going to lose their jobs there. Not good. Hey, this is Frontier.setter from the future editing this video. So there's a couple things I did miss out originally when I was recording. So one of the biggest issues with having the German government isn't just that they have really strict exportation guidelines. There's also the fact that the German government actually owns the patents for these weapons. So, even if they were to get a factory based in the United States, there's a whole other thing to jump through, which is the ownership of those patents. Even with the 416, it took years for that to be made here. So, you're looking at just the government fucking over the company, which essentially just fucks us over. It's kind of a shitty thing, but that's kind of where that stands there. It's not looking great at all. As we know, the US of A is crazy into firearms. There are a lot of people here that want to buy all of your shit. But HK does particularly cater to these large military contracts. They're worth a lot of money, and there's no doubt that they're really sought after. So, it's almost safe to assume that the civilian market has been largely ignored. But is this entirely HK's fault, or is it due to the laws? What we want is civilian versions of the MP7, the G36, the 416, the 433, so on and so forth. Are civilians really like their prime market? No, but they do lose out on a lot of money that they could be having. There's a huge HK Pro forum post about this that I'll link. I'll link all the stuff in the description, that way all the sources are cited. So this is not the first time HK has been in trouble. They have been in dire straits before. In 1990, they lost a bunch of fucking money, and they were bought out by the, let's see here, the British Aerospace Royal Ordnance. During that time, there was a huge push to making things more affordable, which is why you don't see roller delayed blowback on a lot of the new modern firearms. You see a huge switch to polymer, which led way to the UMP, the USP, those kinds of guns. It's a nice thing, but that's what paved the way for this paradigm shift. So in 2012, they were in a shitload of debt. 2017, they got in trouble once again in debt. More importantly, in 2017, they no longer wanted to do trades with Israel. I wonder if that had anything to do with this. And they're still in debt now, and that's just kind of how it's been. They're always kind of playing in that red zone there. So, what now? What should HK do? Well, they've been through this shit before. I don't know if it's been this bad with all the people getting laid off and such. But it's a problem. And remember that Hostess thing that happened with the Twinkies? And how everyone was like, oh fuck! My Twinkies are gone. They're gone forever. They're not gone forever. You can still buy Twinkies. They're alive and well. Happy, happy. Well, except for those workers who fucking ran off. That's another case, though. Or you can be like another company. Of course, I'm referring to B&T. And they make really, really high-quality firearms for a very specific and niche purpose. They're pricey, but they are available to civilians. But it's just a shame to see this news going around about how bad it's all going. You know, they like I said, they do produce firearms that are of a higher quality than you'll see on a lot of other guns. And I think that would be apparent if you shot like a USP or a P2000 or something like that. Feel free to disagree. I don't care. As a friend of mine said, even if HK just dries up and goes away, don't cry because it happened. Smile because it did. And if anything, there's always the high point. Cause let me tell you, I'm ready to fucking yeet that shit.